What is it, Billy? I hear Daddy. He's in trouble.
Not like your dead husband could die twice.
What?
Full of surprises. I'm fine. I'm fine.
The Avengers. Are you here to help us?
Why would you think that? I think a few unsavory characters settling in the neighborhood.
Are you here to help us?
I think something's wrong here.
There's no need to get dramatic.
Did you really not see what I saw?
She recast Pietro?
If you're not watching Wandavision, you're missing out. Marvel is finally back.
Am I dead?
Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my WandaVision Episode 6 trailer video. There's obviously so much stuff going on, so many big twists, so we'll break it all down. We did not see that coming. If you're new to the channel, I'm doing videos for all the episodes. Be sure to subscribe to get them. We're doing a Disney Plus giveaway for memberships, too. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave all your theories about the big twists in the last episode on the video. So obviously careful for spoilers if you have not seen last week's episode yet. But because they break all the footage from across the episode up in the trailer, the scenes are edited out of order in this trailer. So it seems like after Evan Peters' Quicksilver shows up and Wanda stops freaking out and just accepts him as her Pietro, even though she knows something isn't quite right and claims she had nothing to do with it. She introduces Vision, he chills out a little bit, because right before he rung the doorbell, they were almost coming to blows. And he has that line of dialogue where he says, "Who's the popsicle?" Everybody wondering if that means that he knows that Vision is dead secretly, which is a big twist on top of another big twist. But there's that audio in the trailer where we hear him mocking Scarlet Witch, saying it's not like your dead husband can die twice, so it seems like that confirms that he knows that Vision is dead somehow. This is all playing out during the 90s Halloween episode. That's basically the big theme of the episode. You can make as many Full House references as you want because that was a 90s sitcom, and Quicksilver here, Evan Peters' Quicksilver, is kind of like the Uncle Jesse character showing up in his leather jacket. Also on top of that, we're still wondering what the big twist is behind his character showing up seemingly from the multiverse because he's the Fox X-Men version of Quicksilver. There were a lot of people that were pointing to the descriptive audio in the episode. So there's subtitles and then there's descriptive audio for the hard of hearing. The official descriptive audio claims that this is Quicksilver from the X-Men movies. Here, I'll play the clip.
In Westview, Wanda stares at the version of Pietro from the X-Men films.
So it's not clear if they want us to just take that at face value, like, oh no, this is full multiverse and that's what the twist is meant to be, or if there's something else going on with his character. Because when he's mocking Scarlet Witch, he sounds like he's being a huge dick. Why would he do that if there weren't some other twist behind his character? Why would he be so mean like that? And here's another big question about his character. How does Quicksilver from the Fox Marvel X-Men universe know about something that happened in an alternate universe? He was not around for Vision's death in Avengers Infinity War. Even the real Pietro, the original Quicksilver, wasn't around for that and wouldn't know that Vision died. So even if Aaron Taylor Johnson had been the one to ring that doorbell, he should not know that Vision is really dead. So I think that just implies that there's some bigger twist at play with his character showing up like this and knowing what he knows. I said it during my episode 5 video, the way he performs those lines like, "Hey baby bro, give me a hug," doesn't sound like his X-Men version of the character, so it sounds like he's performing the character either differently because of the episode, or because he's another character just pretending to be Quicksilver from the Fox Marvel X-Men films. If this were any other Marvel TV show, we could take it a little closer to face value. Like when Falcon and Winter Soldier episodes start, that'll be a more straight-up Marvel adventure series like you would expect it to be, like Captain America Winter Soldier. Twist, but not the crazy level of twist that we just got in last week's episode. People seemingly crossing the multiverse, or playing with our perceptions, making us think that people cross the multiverse. You have to remember that a lot of what's happening in the episode, a lot of these big twists, are all based on Scarlet Witch's reality warping powers, the cosmic radiation that she's manipulating, the same energy as the Infinity Stones. So a lot of this is just flowing from her imagination. So they kind of did the same thing during the Legion TV show, where you're never quite sure what's going on because you're viewing everything from the perspective of a mentally ill character, and Wanda's mental state is slowly deteriorating. But then it seems like what happens is he just crashes at their place overnight. Like Vision said, every time they switch to another day, she changes everything. So then during the night when they wake up again, she changes everything to the 1990s, and it becomes the big Halloween episode. There was a casting scene for Billy and Tommy last year that got out where they talked to each other about waking their uncle up who was sleeping on the couch. And at the time, I assumed that meant that Quicksilver was going to be on the show because Vision does not have any siblings. But at the time, obviously, we weren't thinking about them doing the Evan Peters Quicksilver from the X-Men movies. That's just the icing on the cake. Like Kevin Feige is saying, you want some Quicksilver to come back, hold my beer, we'll do you one better. There's probably a whole bunch of other stuff that happens before the Halloween trick-or-treating starts that we see in all the footage, like them paying off the scene of Monica Rambeau using that craft to get back inside the barrier. Remember she said she knew someone? There were people claiming that they sussed out in the transcript for the episode that Monica Rambeau was talking to a female character. I don't know if that's true, but that would change some of the theories about who she's referring to. Hopefully they'll clarify in a future episode, because I would love for that character to be the Blue Marvel. He's an engineer, but they might wait to introduce him to the Captain Marvel sequels or some other Marvel movie. And I'd love for it to be a Fantastic Four character, but Kevin Feige said that they haven't cast any of those Fantastic Four characters yet. This footage of her trying to break back in could also be from a different episode, because remember, this is all playing out during the span of a single week of the year. Like, it's all happening in a very short time span. But Halloween starts, you get that scene of her and Vision walking out in their classic comic book costumes. I can't wait to see that. It's going to be so hilarious and amazing at the same time. I'm also hoping that means that Evan Peters wears a Halloween version of the classic X-Men Quicksilver costume. The funny thing about this too is that Elizabeth Olsen also said that they had to fight to get these Halloween comic book costumes on the show. They originally weren't planning on doing this, but for those of you wondering why they haven't done a more comic book accurate Scarlet Witch costume in the MCU before, they've actually tried to do it all the way back since her debut during Avengers Age of Ultron, not counting the Captain America Winter Soldier post-credit scene. This is a lot of concept art for what her look was going to be during Avengers Age of Ultron, and then when the Russo brothers sort of took over the character in Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, there's more concept art for them trying to do the special headpiece. So they've at least attempted to do it before. Hopefully we'll see a more modern version of that costume, maybe during Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. As they start trick-or-treating, it seems like Vision just starts to see weird stuff happening again, and it's not clear if Wanda has wiped his memory again overnight, doing her rewind to reset him again. But however he comes to it, he encounters Agnes wearing her Wicked Witch of the West costume. I know, just more clues that there's something weird going on with her character, more Agatha Harkness Easter eggs. In the comics, Agatha Harkness was a witch who was burned at the stake during the Salem witch trials. But however their conversation goes, it seems like she asks him, really, like, are you part of the Avengers? Are you here to rescue us? Begging him for help. And that's what causes him to change back to his regular Avengers costume. He floats up into the air to survey the town. Then there's that footage of him trying to break through the barrier of Westview to talk to the sword agents and Monica Rambeau. But then for whatever reason, it seems like he gets yanked back in the barrier by someone, either it's Scarlet Witch or it's someone else, because you also have that audio of Billy and Tommy freaking out talking to Scarlet Witch, saying that Vision is in trouble, she needs to help him. So it's not clear what's happening to Vision when that's going on. That could be when he's outside the barrier, or it could be some other encounter that he has during the episode. Also answering the big question of what happens to Vision when he goes outside the barrier, because right now, Monica Rambeau and that jump rope, the cable that turned into the jump rope, are the only things that we've seen make it back outside the barrier. They kind of tried to explain that like Monica Rambeau's 60s costume was basically just a reimagined, retuned version of her original sword costume. That's why it was 80% Kevlar. Scarlet Witch rewrote the reality of her regular modern-day costume into a 60s costume. So does that also mean that she rewrote the reality of Vision to make him alive again? Because she sees him briefly and he's walking around looking dead, like Weekend at Bernie's style during episode 3 and episode 4. It seems like he's able to speak when he gets outside the barrier, though, for at least a little while. So whatever's happening, it does seem like he's capable of at least existing for a hot second when he's outside the barrier. A lot of people theorizing that there'll be some twist that will prevent him from existing or continuing to exist after WandaVision is over. Like Scarlet Witch will have to say goodbye to him, or he'll have to sacrifice himself somehow. They had that whole scene during episode 5 about her giving the kids the lesson about not running from their pain because Sparky the dog had died and she didn't want to bring him back. Like, no, we can't be doing stuff like that. But she literally just did that with Vision. So part of the series is her taking her own medicine, learning to get over Vision's death finally. There's a lot of other footage in the trailer too that I know is from other future episodes, like the Modern Family footage of her making the joke about having a case of the Mondays. That's probably from episode 7, maybe beyond that when they hit the 2000s era of sitcoms. Then we see this footage. Now we can say this is a scene of her actually breaking into the Sword headquarters on Earth to steal Vision's body, because it looks exactly like the cam version of the footage they played during episode 5. So either that's in next week's episode or later episodes, and we just see it play out in the moment. Yes, I do have more theories about what's going on with Tyler Hayward now, because it seems like during that 5-year time jump, they had Vision's body hooked up to all these systems, like they were trying to use his body to develop more weapons and AI as part of that new modus operandi, Sentient Weapons Observation and Response Department. He had that big conversation with Monica Rambeau about how their agency was all about sentient weapons now, and that's exactly what Vision is. She had that weird look on her face like she thought that it was a really ominous thing, so it seems like whatever they were doing with Vision is connected to that. And they were very clear during the episode when they were talking about Vision's living will. He didn't want to be brought back because he didn't want to be used as a weapon, so it sounds like Tyler Hayward was actually trying to use Vision as a weapon. That doesn't absolutely confirm that he's a Skrull or there's some other big twist. Right now he's still just kind of a douche. But he's becoming more of an antagonist on the series, just like Scarlet Witch is. That's the whole idea. So it's possible that there is some other big twist behind his character, and they wind up having to take him down at some point too, or he gets his comeuppance by the finale. I know a lot of people are also wondering if Monica Rambeau has her comic book photon powers now because of the weird EKG scan scene. There were all those weird readings on her medical charts, those light blooms, so people were like, does this mean that she has her powers now? It's totally possible that this is the beginning of that, and they'll just continue to develop that throughout the rest of the episodes and then pay it off in a much bigger way during the Captain Marvel 2 movie. Monica Rambeau is also probably going to show up on that Nick Fury Avengers Secret Invasion series because it'll probably involve some sword stuff as well. They did say that the Wandavision episodes would give you an idea for Monica Rambeau's future in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think that was a reference to her becoming a version of the Photon character. So I do think that we'll see them pay that off during the rest of these episodes. And remember, a couple weeks ago, there was all this talk about Elizabeth Olsen being really excited for a special cameo scene on the series, and people were making Luke Skywalker Mandalorian references. I think that secret cameo that they were talking about is not the Evan Peters Quicksilver twist. I think it'll be somebody else probably, and it'll be closer to the finale. This is obviously a big twist. It's really cool to see him on the show, but it's happening so early in the episodes that it feels like there's going to be an even bigger twist later on closer to the finale. Like that's where you put the biggest twist, right in the finale. Everyone post all your theories about what's going on with Quicksilver and what's going on with Tyler Hayward and Monica Rambeau and her powers in the comments below. My full episode 6 video will post Friday, and tomorrow is the Super Bowl, so there's supposed to be a couple Marvel trailers during the Super Bowl. I'll do videos for all those, whatever it is they wind up dropping. Maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer, maybe a new Loki trailer, maybe a new Black Widow trailer, maybe something for the other movies. We'll find out. Make sure you have alerts enabled for my channel so you don't miss any of those videos. And I'll name a giveaway winner when I post that first Super Bowl trailer video. Everyone click here for my full WandaVision Episode 5 video, and click here for my WandaVision Fantastic Four Easter eggs video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.